others are going to take it whether they want to or not, because that's just what light working is all about. You're feeling their anguish, their fear, their stress, their anxiety, the whole shebang. Okay. And you have to, you have to find your base. You have to recenter yourself. And you're going to have to do that again and again. We've got more coming. We're going to be fine. You just have to remember to ground. All right. So I hope that helps somebody. All right. So tonight, what are we going to do? Haunted objects, talking about energy. This one, Steve and I talked about multiple times. We've never come up with an answer. I doubt we're going to come up with an answer tonight. Because year after year we do this. And I'm telling you what, this one just baffles my mind. And I know it baffles Steve too. So let's get him in here. If I get a thumbs up. Thumbs up, we're good. You look like a poet tonight, sweetie. You're muted.
I'm a poet and didn't know it. Now I got my Boston Scally cap on.
Yeah, you look like a poet. You look like what is it? Is it Thoreau or is it I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying.
Maybe he's from this area.
No, there's an illustration that you're reminding me of exactly tonight. I don't know what it is exactly.
The before picture.
It's one of those memory zaps, like almost like a deja vu, but it's just a visual. Like I've seen this before. For a second, you just pop, you just fit it. It just took me back. I'll get it. I'll get it. How you doing, sweetheart? Where's my baby at? Is he sleeping?
I think he's asleep.
Let him sleep. Let him sleep.
If he wakes up, I'll bring him
a
on
little
later.
booger.
And just since it is spooky season, I'm simulcasting this to 13 past midnight too.
Yes,
I can do that.
So cool. How nice!
Here. I looked up at the top of the screen that said "Stream this to your audience." So here we go.
Hey, now, this is great.
If you want to see a picture of Holden, I've shared a screen down there with you.
Let me see.
We got him a little sweater and a blanket.
Oh, the munchkin!
We put him in that.
He's about
huge sweater.
Oh,
once
my gosh,
every month until he's a year old, and take a picture on that, and then the circle there shows how.
And eventually he'll be in. Eventually he'll grow
into it. But that's 1 month.
What size is that? A year? What size is the sweater?
I don't know. Big. Yeah.
Is adult small? It's gonna be a minute.
That's him at 1 month old on the 5th.
You ever see those, Steve? You got to do that. You never see that one. You have to take a picture. I think it's like some I've seen almost every day. I guess the kid in the high chair, the dad would take a picture every day, every morning. At the table until a certain age, and they just show them and they put them all together. So you should do something like that. Absolutely. At least every couple of weeks or something,
That's a good idea.
Every Sunday afternoon.
I'll say hi to Lee G, my brother from another
Hi, Lee.
Mother. How you doing?
Hi, Sasha Bell.
And everybody else. Hello, Sasha.
Dixon. Tedders. Where's Lord Connor? Hey, Chris. Welcome in. Isn't he a cutie?
Yep. Henry Nelson's here.
Keep punching the microphone. I've got to get me an elbow. I've got to get what do you call that? Where you get the mic and you screw it into the wall and it's got the extender arm thing. I want it so bad. I've got one that's just and I just keep smacking it. That's what I want. I don't have enough table to put it on the table, but I want to put it on the on the wall.
Yeah,
that's what I want because I keep smacking it. It's black. I can't see it.
Mine's screwed onto the table, but they're handy. I got one in here and one in there, and my other
family's good. Studio. Mama's good. Is Mama good too? How's Nick?
Yeah, she's doing good. She's in there relaxing with him. We haven't had a lot of sleep in the last month or so, but it's worth it.
Isn't that wonderful, Vixen? It feels better, doesn't it, Vixen? Just reaching in with the other light workers that are in agreement. Listen, if we all could just, I'm trying to keep my words clean. If we just, get up on the mountain and with the torches and dance around the tree barefoot, and whatever, you'd be surprised what we can do. That's got to be one of my favorite scenes in Practical Magic, where everybody gets together and just everybody that was arguing and bickering and had little snippety nippets at each other and all that kind of backstabbing hoodinky, mess. I hate that mess. And then at the end, they get together. And the minute they get into agreement, the minute they decide to stand together for one thing, that power, that energy, they did such a good job explaining that. That's kind of what we just did. So if you visualize, remember when they all stood together in the circle and they had the broomsticks and they connected the broomsticks? Well, that's intent. So you're connecting all that energy together in intent. It's the same thing. So, dancing around a tree or a maypole or, any of that stuff, I would say it's, depending on what you're doing it for. So there's that. So what's going on in your life this week, Steve? You don't even want to know what's going on in mine.
It's just all baby all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
This place looks like baby warehouse or something. There is
Yep.
stuff in every
Your life
room
is filled with,
except the bathroom. I don't think he has anything in the bathroom yet.
Wait, that tub is going to be filled with rubber duckies and those little Fisher Price, different colored donuts and that float and all those little squeaky balls will fill up with water, and then they'll learn how to squirt the water at you, and then that's something
he
totally
already
different.
does that with his boy parts there.
I bet.
Changing the diaper, and
You got to be quicker than that.
Quicker, got to cover it up, or
you got to be quicker.
Get sprayed.
The minute that cold air hits it, it's all over it. Boy, they can art.
Nicole said that sweater there in the pic is 12 to 18 months.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Probably like
he's supposed to grow into. You put him on that every month.
Yeah,
for the next 12 months, and then the time he's a year old, it should be.
Yeah, I want to see the one where he's going to school and he's trying to still get it on, and it's way too small for him. That's going to come faster than you know. I mean, you blink twice and they're driving. Is he awake? You blink twice and they're driving, or they're graduating high school. There he is.
And he's got his candy corn outfit on. he just woke up, so he may not be too sociable, but there
hi,
he is.
Sugar Boy. Don't be making you wear the candy corns. Candy corn is scary, Daddy. It tastes nasty too. Hi, baby. How you doing?
My son, Holden Chandler Stockton.
Chubby cheek boy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's sleeping. Oh,
yeah, he's just waking up.
Little pumpkin.
He's been sleeping all day and then held it up all night. So we'll see how it goes. He didn't.
Don't you just love him
today? But that's average for newborns. They sleep a lot.
Oh my gosh, yeah. They're just like ginger cats. They're just like ginger cats. It's all about them.
Every couple of hours, and want to be fed.
Yep. And then they go crazy while they're awake, just like hell bent for leather for about 10, 15 minutes, and then they start all over again and go back to sleep again. Hi, Choga. There he is. Hi, baby. Hi, Choga.
He's looking at the ring light up there. He likes the studio lights. He's been watching Baby Einstein on YouTube. And then last night he was watching you. I sent you a picture. Yeah. He was watching you and
gets to know my voice. Hi, Holden.
Whoever else you had on last night, he was totally into it.
Yeah. It's Cisco. Hi, yes. See, I got a smile. See there. He recognizes my voice. See there? Did you see that smile? Y'all saw that smile.
Yeah, he listens to you when you're on,
baby.
On Sunday nights.
Oh my goodness, he's so sleepy. Oh, to sleep. Look at him. He's just going to sleep. He's just so comfortable. He's so comfortable. How's Mama doing? Mama's doing good.
Yeah, Mama's doing great.
Getting sleep.
Getting a little bit of sleep when we can. We kind of take turns when we have to.
Classy.
But he wants to sleep all day, and then we got stuff to do during the day, and then night when we're ready to go to bed, he's ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. You got to switch it around. It's all about them now. It's all over. That's it. It's all about them. Yep. They take over quick, and it's amazing to me how much stuff you need for something so little. Like when you pack a car to go somewhere, at the playpen, you got the car seat, you got the diaper bag, you got the toys,
he's got
a
backpack, and he's got a diaper bag and
the baby wipes,
some kind of boppy pillow or something like that.
The teethy toy,
baby wipes, the bottles. He's got a whole.
And you got to have it all.
Accoutrement stuff here.
I bet. And you got to have it all.
He's got more clothes than I do, I think.
And the shoes. I mean, for the next 3 years, most of your life is going to be chasing down one shoe.
Yeah,
one
he doesn't like socks or shoes. He kicks those off, so he's got the little. I don't know if you can see them or not, but the little.
You got to get the fluffies. Yep, that's the best way. Yep, that's the best way. I never understood the people that bought like $300-$400 pair of Nikes for a 3-month-old. I'm like, what are you doing?
Grow out of them real quick. I want to give him a pair of Doc Martens, but I'm going to wait until he's about a year old, I think.
Yeah, I'd wait at least a year. Wait till they're walking. They can carry all that weight around for sure. I remember it was probably about phasing out when my first one was born. So like in the 80s, I don't think you saw too much, but the Stride Right shoe, remember, in every Tom McCann shoe store, every Buster Brown, every Sears had the Stride Right shoe, that hard sole little leather shoe. Remember that mess?
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, you get kicked in the nuts with one of those, boy. or they step on you or kick you in the shin. They jump on your lap when they're starting to run. They come at you. You'd be surprised how heavy it feels. Oh,
he's sticking his tongue out at me.
Yeah.
He just stares at me. He's got that.
I know.
Gives me kind of that side eye look.
Probably wondering who the hell's this man?
Who's this old man with a beard?
Who's this man? It's Santa Claus. Santa Claus. He's probably telling you what he wants. Give me all these things. You can have anything you want.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, guys, listen. I got a little video here. I didn't know what to do tonight, and I thought, well, and I'm sorry, because all this week I've been hooking up people who in need of supplies with people that were dropping off supplies, and where the drop-off points was, and did somebody have a car that they could go pick up supplies for their block who didn't have a car. And it's just been, it feels like 24/7, Steve, and then you add work into it. I've just been a mess. Yeah. So I thought it'd be nice to look back at Leonard Nimoy tonight and talk about the Marie Celeste. It's Marie Celeste, isn't it? Excuse you, Bubby. Yeah. So I know we talked about it before a couple of times, and if you look up ghost ships, sometimes you're going to get just ships that wander up that have been empty or whatever, and that's called a ghost ship. But Marie Celeste is actually a ghost ship. And there's other ones too that show up in a mist or show up on an anniversary or show up in like there's a curse of whoever the ship that saw it, that kind of
famous Flying Dutchman, this scene full sail going against the wind with a skeletal crew on there.
Yeah, that's creepy. Luck. Yeah. And there's different stuff like that, but the thing that's always, every time we bring this up, whether it's haunted, I know what I mean by haunted things and phantom objects. It's more like not things that apport, because I don't get that either. I don't get how they can break up the molecular structure and send it through, and that baffles my mind. But the ones that show up as a ghost but was never a living thing. And Steve and I've talked about this all the time with the Lincoln train is one of them. And there's more, like planes. I think there's probably some planes that are seen too. Wouldn't you think?
Yep.
There's been phantom aircraft, hasn't there?
Yep. There was one plane. I can't remember the name of it or the numbers or anything, but it supposedly landed, and everybody on board was deceased. Figured that one out.
Oh, wow. That's creepy. Phantom aircraft. Well, now I'm just going to get the phantom. Let's put it in here. I just think I have one on top of my head, and I can't recall exactly what it was. How about you, chat?
Yeah, look at that smile. Look at that smile.
Ghost plane that landed itself. Is that the one? I bet you it is, Steve.
And then there's another one. It's flight some number. I can't remember, the 419 or something like that.
401.
They used part of the parts on other airplanes, and they would see the ghosts on there when they were about to encounter some kind of weird trouble.
Right. This one's going to be hard because I keep getting, like the Phantom flyers. I keep getting all the Phantom. I'm going to look up into that because I know there's a couple of ghost planes. And what you're talking about is the ghost of Flight 401. 401. It had that great movie with Ernest Borgnine and everything. We got an episode on it in the playlist on this show right here. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and start watching a little bit of the In Search of with Leonard Nimoy on the Marie Celeste. And when we come back, there's a couple other little treats and stuff in there, and we'll stop along the way. And then we've got a slideshow of a couple of different objects. And I think Steve's got a story for us about a couple of, I would say phantom objects or haunted objects, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for a video? Are you ready for a video, Sugar Boy? Are you?
You watch a video?
Do you know who Leonard Nimoy is? You have to know who he is. Let me introduce you to him. Let me introduce you to Leonard Nimoy. Here comes. It's scary. Don't get scared. Boo. It's a bat, pumpkin, skull. I'm going to teach him his first words. Skull, crow.
Oh, he's laughing at that.
Ghost. Can you imagine his first reader? Jack-o'-lantern. Heck yeah. Here we go.
The 5th of December, 1872.
Ship from the starboard bow!
The captain of the brigantine Dei Gratia sights a ship in the Atlantic, 800 miles off the Portuguese coast. It appears to be unmanned and steering wild.
Ahoy there! Captain Briggs! Ahoy! Anyone aboard?
The only reply is an eerie creaking. No one appears on deck. The ship is completely forsaken. What happened to the crew of the Mary Celeste is one of the enduring mysteries of the sea.
Where'd everybody go?
We represent the government of the United States of America.
That's scarier.
Permission from your government to board your vessel.
Mary
Today,
Celeste. I was
Coast
thinking
Guardsmen
Marie.
are accustomed
Mary.
to finding abandoned vessels.
Stand by and prepare to be boarded.
The first boarding is tense and dangerous.
Nosotros tenemos el permiso de su gobierno a abordar su barco.
Modern abandoned ships usually mean only one thing. They're being used for illegal drug traffic. In the days of the great sailing vessels, however, derelict ships were not so easily explained, and no abandoned vessel has remained as mysterious as the Mary Celeste. Theories abound as to why the Mary Celeste was abandoned. It might have been the result of a prearranged salvage fraud, pirates, mutiny, a burst of deadly marine gas, or even a homicidal maniac, killing the rest of the crew, one by one, dumping their bodies, and then committing suicide. To try to unravel the web of intrigue surrounding the Mary Celeste, we must examine a reenactment of that fateful voyage in the winter of 1872. November 2nd, in the New York harbor, the Mary Celeste completed loading her cargo, 1,700 barrels of alcohol. During the loading, 2 of the kegs slipped, damaging the longboat so severely it was put ashore as useless. A replacement could not be found, but the Mary Celeste still carried her yawl on deck. If absolutely necessary, it could accommodate the entire ship's company.
No, thank you. A big bag of notes for me.
Captain Benjamin Spooner Briggs, brought his wife Sarah and 2-year-old daughter Sophia on board for the voyage. In his final letter to his mother, he wrote,
"It seems real home-like since Sarah and Sophia got here, and we enjoy our little quarters. Sophia has got over the bad cold she had when she came, and has a first-class appetite for hash and bread and butter. I think the voyage will do her lots of good. Our vessel is in beautiful trim, and I hope we shall have a fine passage."
To this, Sarah added,
"Benjamin thinks we've got a pretty peaceable crew this time all round, if they continue as they have begun."
The night before the Mary Celeste sailed, Captain Briggs dined with Captain David Reed Morehouse of the Dei Gratia.
This makes a change in this day and age, really.
The 2 ships were moored side by side at the dock.
To be very slipshod about it all.
In light of subsequent events, this was a strange coincidence. The 2 men knew each other well. What did Captain Morehouse think of Briggs?
Briggs was a teetotaler and a God-fearing man. He could be stern when occasion required it, and was not a man to be intimidated or imposed upon. But he was just and considerate towards the men serving under him, just as he was gentle and affectionate in his family relations.
1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4.
On November 5th, 1872, the Mary Celeste set sail. One month later, she was sighted by the Dei Gratia. The Mary Celeste was drifting, unmanned, 800 miles off the Portuguese coast. She would be sailed by a skeleton crew from the Dei Gratia to Gibraltar, where the official inquiry was held. At the British Admiralty Court, the proceedings opened with Captain Morehouse's description of his first sighting of the Mary Celeste.
I reckon the way the yards were square, she was running before the wind when she was abandoned. It's possible the storm that we met at 4 o'clock that morning might have sent her round had she also met it. First time I saw her, 2 o'clock afternoon, her head was westward. The jib was trimmed on the port side, although she was on a starboard tack. She was yawing, coming up to the wind then, falling off. I judged something was amiss. I thought I saw a flag of distress at her yard, but subsequently it turned out to be a flapping sail. By 3 o'clock, we were about 350 yards off. I hailed her, but got no reply, and I couldn't see anyone on deck. So I sent Mr. Devereux, my second mate, over to board her, and in due course he signaled me to come over myself. When I got on board, Mr. Devereux had already sounded the pumps, which showed she made little or no water.
During the next hour, Captain Morehouse would carefully inspect every inch of the ship.
The ship was perfectly sound. Her hull, masts, and yards were in good condition. Her cargo, which was barrels of alcohol, was properly stowed and hadn't shifted, but the forehatch had been lifted off.
This was only one of the many enigmas Morehouse would encounter.
I came to the conclusion that she'd been left in a panic. The mainsail was lying loose, as if it had been run down. The lazarette hatch was also off, but there were plenty of provisions and water in there.
Anybody below?
The glass on the compass was smashed.
That one always got me. Why is the glass broken?
Glass is smashed. Together, we searched the ship from stem to stern. At first, we were worried that she was a fever ship and the crew had died of cholera, but there wasn't a soul on board, nor were there any visible signs of there having been any trouble. In the forecastle, oilskins, boots, and pipes were scattered about as if abandoned in great haste. And among the dunnage were articles of value you might have supposed their owners would have taken if abandoning ship. In the galley, everything was in good order, as it would be between meals. There was no wine, beer, or spirits on board. A child's clothing and toys were strewn about. And on the table was a sewing machine with a baby's pinafore on it and a number of small items lying on the table alongside. There were books and charts, but the chronometers and the ship's log were missing. The slate log had an unfinished letter beginning Fanny, my dear wife, Francis N.R., which I took to be the start of a message scribbled by the mate.
Now, don't you think the captain would have taken the ship's log with them if they did get off the ship? But then they had to let that one lifeboat go, right? So they had one boat that was big, lifeboat that was big enough to carry the whole crew. Isn't that what he said? I think that's what he said. But that's just, to me, this is so Bermuda Triangle, and I don't know if they keep seeing this ship or its reflection or its image because there was some kind of a traumatic thing happened, because so many traumatic things have happened. Look at the Edmund Fitzgerald and so many other, Titanic. Well, that's definitely got a lot of stuff connected to it, but still, it's just so many questions.
The ship's boat was missing. You could see where the boat had been lashed across the main hatch, but that was not the right place for her. There were no signs of any tackle to launch her, but we usually launched our boat from the rail with only a tow rope to secure her. I saw no remains of painter or boat's rope fastened to the rail.
Captain Morehouse's observations were detailed, but they raised more questions than they answered. The man responsible for the official inquiry was Mr. Solly Flood, Her Majesty's Advocate General, proctor for the Queen in her Office of Admiralty, and a legal bloodhound. A new age.
Is this the trial where they found some, this guy said that there was some kind of blood found on the ship and was saying that something went down, but it turned out to be rust? I mean, it was like that cheesy of an investigation. Am I remembering this correctly? Maybe I'm off. I don't know. Let's see. We all know I'm off, so let's see how far.
The age of belief in science, invention, and technology was dawning. The ability to seek and find cold, hard evidence in order to solve any mystery was reaching a golden era. Was there any evidence to indicate foul play? The only facts available so far, a ship in good order, yet abandoned in a hurry. The investigation about to take place in Gibraltar would propel the Mary Celeste to her place as the most infamous abandoned ship in the history of the sea. Advocate General Solly Flood boarded the Mary Celeste to examine it in minute detail.
There was no appearance of fire or explosion or any other assignable cause of abandonment. She was well provisioned and it seems had encountered no seriously heavy weather. She was thoroughly sound, staunch, and strong, and in every way seaworthy and well found. But both bows had been recently cut by a sharp instrument. On the starboard topgallant rail, there were marks apparently of blood and a mark of a blow, apparently by a sharp axe. A sword appeared to me to exhibit traces of blood and to have been wiped before being returned to its scabbard. In the forehatch, a barrel, ostensibly of alcohol, appeared to have been tampered with. My object is to move the Board of Trade to take such action as they may think fit, to discover, if possible, the fate of the master, whose name was Briggs, his wife and child, and the crew of the derelict. My own theory, or guess, is that the crew got at the alcohol and in the fury of drunkenness murdered the master and his wife and child and the chief mate, that they then damaged the bows of the vessel so as to give it the appearance of having struck on some rocks or suffered some collision, with a view to inducing the master of any vessel which might pick them up if they saw her at some distance, not to think her worth attempting to save. And that they did, sometime between the 25th of November and the 5th of December, escape on board some vessel bound for some South or North American port or the West Indies.
Are you feeling the same thing I'm feeling? Like, can you imagine being on the other side of this pompous effete airbag, windbag? He just went in there and made up this entire scenario on flimsy evidence, according to, as far as I can see. I don't know. What do you guys think? This is a little bit too, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Tails. And everybody else I'm missing. Lee, did I say hi to you, sweetie? If I didn't, hello. Welcome, Crossover. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, Julie. I'm sorry, my eyes aren't too good tonight. But welcome in, everybody. And I know my mods are terrific in slinging bacon at you. And if you prefer, they do have some broccoli, I think, put aside just in case. But bacon is usually the the default thing flung around here because bacon is love to us. But this looks, I don't know. He looks like he's railroading somebody here to me. It just looks like he's got his moment in the spotlight and he's just, running with it. I don't know. It's all very Shakespearean to me right now.
Was this the real story? Mutiny and murder? The Advocate General was convinced he was on the trail of a sensational crime. Soon, the story spread to the newspapers of the world and began to read like a modern detective yarn. As the inquiry proceeded, however, it became increasingly evident that the Advocate General had let his imagination run wild.
You think so? I mean, Leonard, come on.
Flood was later found to be wrong on almost every statement he made. The forensic test proved that the sinister, bloody sword was really an old bayonet used to mix paints. And the blood on the rail was only rust.
Ha ha! We called it.
The final results of the inquiry cleared Captain Morehouse and the Dei Gratia crew of piracy. And in fact, the Dei Gratia was awarded a portion of the salvage value.
How about this, Steve? He ran away with it, didn't he?
There the story might have ended. But for an amazing discovery,
sure did.
30 years later. A young apprentice sailor was sent ashore to collect some sand at St. Paul's Rocks, a tiny island in the middle of the South Atlantic. He found a skeleton propped in the shade of a rock.
Oh, man, that's creepy. Man, that's rough. How long did he sit there waiting for it? Was he waiting on a bus, Steve?
And beside it, a bottle stuffed with a soiled and faded letter.
Oh,
jeez. A letter which told an amazing tale.
My ship struck these rocks at dawn 3 days ago. She sank immediately. Only I, of all her crew, reached the shore alive. I am dying of thirst. It has been a voyage of disaster. 3 deaths in 2 days. Then came the poison on the 7th day out. Ship helpless, and so for 3 days we lay. Knew we must ask assistance to take us to Gibraltar for crew. Early morning sighted small brig becalmed. Mate said, take her crew. Went aboard. Captain asked why we came. His wife and child were with him. We left no one on board. The brig was called Mary Celeste.
Years later, this tragic letter was brought to public attention in the London Daily Express.
Well, there you go.
Was this at last the real clue to the mystery of the Mary Celeste? If so, why did the young sailor wait 9 years to publish the letter? Many people doubt its authenticity. It is just one of the hundreds of theories proposed during the last century.
There's always going to be doubter.
There is a universal sailor's super...
People are never satisfied, Steve. I'm telling you what.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth.
Can't
now, what do you think?
Alone.
I know, and it's just.
And what about the authenticity of the letter? I'll admit something here. When I was a kid, I used to write letters saying, help, I've been kidnapped and stuff, and throw it out the window in the parking lot when we were on vacation. I wonder if anybody ever found one of those, like, holy shit, we got to go find this guy.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I mean, that's just the thing. That's what cracks us up.
In the 60s and 70s, you get away with stuff back then.
Well, we used to make the phone calls, too, and ask if you had, do you have, what was it, Sir Raleigh in a can?
Yeah.
And they'd say yes, because they had that tobacco there
Prince
in a can.
Albert in a can. Or
Prince Albert, that was it. What was the Raleigh one?
Janitor in a drum. You better let him out.
Yeah.
Is your refrigerator running?
Yep. Is your refrigerator running? Oh, gosh, there were so many. There was one I heard today. It was just so bad. It's going to be a rough winter. So, we're going to think we're getting extra wood and everything else. I want to get the chimney changed on my house. And I called the guy up and I said, how much for to get a chimney? And he said, it's free. It's on the house. That's stupid.
I see what he
you
did.
know, but somebody said that, and it just stopped for a second, and I just laughed, and I think that's why stuff like that's so popular. I mean, that little simple stuff, because it works.
Do that. I'm going to call someplace and say
about chimney.
I want to get a chimney added to my house, but there shouldn't be any charge, right?
Because it's on the house. Well, isn't it on the house?
I want to add a chimney, but it's free, right? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's on the house, right?
Yeah, it's on the house. Yeah, you'll be right over tomorrow, right? Yeah.
And hey,
I'll tell you what.
Watching over on 13 Past Midnight. We're
hey, everybody. Welcome.
Cisco's channel. I've dropped the link there. Come on over here. Subscribe. Spread the love.
Yes, please do. Please do. Please hit the like. We could use it. We need the love. We'll throw bacon at you. We'll welcome you in. We'll get you a good seat. Bring snacks.
Here in StreamYard, you can see when they message from 13 Past Midnight, but it doesn't show up on your YouTube channel. But anyway, come on over here and subscribe. We've got.
Come on over here.
Got 11 watching over there, 19.
This is the equivalent of Steve and I sitting on the front porch visiting. A bunch of people come over. Everybody's just got them a good seat. They brought their spiked lemonade and their hot tea and their coffee and their adult beverages or whatever they have, and their chocolate cake, their whiskey balls and everything. And we just have a good old time. We talk about ghost stories and whatnot.
You see that
aliens.
Message from Kathy Evans there.
Which one, sweetie?
Kathy
Hi.
Evans.
Hey, Kathy. How you doing, sweetie?
See how it has that little like infinity symbol?
Let's get it up here. Yep.
It doesn't show it on screen, but if you see it on the thing, that means she's on the other channel on 13 Past Midnight.
Oh, okay. I do see the infinity symbol.
Yeah,
welcome,
so
infinities.
You see, they're watching on
Tales Untold's got one.
So that's me, by the way.
Julie's got one. Hi, Julie. Welcome in. Welcome in. So let's finish up with Leonard here. Now, look, this gets me on many levels because when I look at this case or cases like this from this time period, I often think of these poor people that are standing up there. They've got no representation whatsoever. And these pompous asses are just, judging for their life, their livelihood, their, prison time, whatever, thrown in the poorhouse, whatever it is, hung in the apple tree. It just makes me sick. This guy just pulled one thread and ran with it till the whole quilt unraveled. What do you think there, Steve?
It's awful. It sounds like to me.
So do you have so far a theory on what happened to these people? I mean, do you believe the letter? I mean,
it's
hard to say.
Some prankster or somebody just trying to make up a story, and it's easy to connect the dots in reverse. But I don't know.
It makes me wonder too. Yeah. Why I don't know what kind of island they were on. I mean, to not have any water, I can understand that. But gosh, you could eat fish and get some kind of moisture and sustenance. You know what I'm saying?
Look at Gilligan's Island. How many seasons they stayed there?
There's got to be one damn coconut tree on that friggin' island. I mean, I don't think he tried. It sounded to me like he gave up too easy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. There's some holes in it. I don't know. Here we go.
About
We're almost
ships
there.
born unlucky. The Mary Celeste lived up to that superstition.
Was this in the Bermuda Triangle?
Evidence collected in search of proposes a logical explanation. The Mary Celeste had been at sea for 8 days. The hatches had remained closed because at first the weather was stormy. Gradually, though, the cold November chill of New York gave way to the milder latitudes of the Azores. The cargo of alcohol was stored in barrels made of red oak, an extremely porous wood. At least 8 of the barrels leaked badly during the voyage. Battened down under the hatches, the fumes mingled with the foul air of the hold. Was a potentially explosive mixture of gas forming? Off the Azores, the wind dropped to a gentle breeze. Taking advantage of the calm weather, Briggs probably ordered the ventilation of the hold, which may have set off a fateful chain of events.
See, Leonard's going to figure it out. He's got the answer.
An upward rush of fumes, perhaps even an explosion. Then, steam looking like smoke poured out of the hatch.
Abandon ship!
Some of the men began to take in sail. Convinced that the ship was about to blow up, Briggs ordered the boat lowered. A sailor broke out a coil of rope as a tow line from the lazarette. Someone grabbed some tins of preserved meat. Briggs snatched up his chronometer and any of the ship's papers he could quickly lay his hands on. Feeling certain that time was of the essence, he urgently herded his family and crew to the yawl. According to meteorological reports, a sudden squall blew up that day. Under the impact of a violent gust, the vessel may have lunged forward with a suddenness and force which broke the improvised tow line. They may have tried to row after the Mary Celeste, or they may have turned toward the island of Santa Maria, a jagged, inhospitable coastline where a small boat and her occupants would easily be smashed to pieces in the surf.
Now, just so you know, if you don't know about me, this is the most horrific thing. I could be watching water. I do not like it. I don't like what's in the water. I can swim. And if you fell in, I would dive in to get you because, you know, that part of me would just override my fear. But once I got in there and got you safe, I would lose it. I don't like the water. Right now, I'm waiting. What's in there? Where's the shark fins? I can't. It's just horrific to me, Steve. So you just don't get it. Just don't put yourself in that situation. You know what I mean? I don't even like flying over water. The whole time I'm just like, you know, I don't like it. It's terrible. I've seen too much stuff. And to me, it's just such a powerful thing. I mean, look at what it just did this week. You know, that was all water. That, you know what I mean? Pushed houses 20 miles away. Yeah. This is just horrific to me. And I think that's the one thing that gets me too about Titanic and everything else. All the people like Unsinkable Molly Brown in the lifeboat trying to keep everybody alive, you know, people trying to grab onto the boat and pulling it down. And I saw too many movies when I was a kid. You remember all those black and white movies that were all about World War II and people surviving all these battleship.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Some of those disaster movies. Remember Poseidon Adventure? Did you ever see that?
Horrific, horrific.
Hold my breath. That whole thing.
Oh my gosh! When what's her name? Oh, Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters.
She was a champion swimmer. If you have never seen the original Poseidon Adventure, I highly recommend it because it will scare the pants off you. Was Ernest Borgnine in that one as well? I think he was. And but Shelley Winters, everybody. It's a great story of that character coming out in times of need and trouble, and you know, that shadow person coming out and being that heroic person or that strong person or that hero of the moment that you never thought you could be. It's one of those stories. It's really good. And, you know, you've got your natural leaders, you got your knuckle draggers, you got your draggers, period, the ones that are crying in the corner and just being a nuisance and a pain in the butt, and you got to drag them through to save their life. I hate those people. But anyway, Shelley Winters was a champion swimmer, if I got the story right, from high school or whatever. She was, whatever the story was. But she had become a little, let's say, chunkified. Okay. So they had to get through. She could hold her breath still. Didn't she hold the rope in her mouth? Oh my God, the scene. Like that. It was just... in her dress that she had worn to the ball that evening before, swimming underwater, holding her breath, Shelley Winters in all her glory. And she gets the rope to the hole so everybody can pull themselves through and go under this one flooded area to get to the next open porthole or whatever the heck it was, to get off of this sinking ship that's on fire and going underwater. And it's just horrific. So she gets to the hole, and guess what happens? Everybody else can swim through the hole but her, because she's too big and she has to stay there and drown. I was scarred.
That part. When I was in college, we watched it and turned the TV upside down because, you know, when that was unique.
That was the time, though, boy. It was Poseidon Adventure, Tower Inferno, Earthquake.
Airport movies.
Oh yeah. There had to be a couple of airplane. Oh geez, boy, they could make them. I don't know. They don't make them like that anymore. All right, let's get me past my trauma here watching these people in a lifeboat. I just can hardly take it. I swear.
Oh, and somebody mentioned that the Hitchcock movie Lifeboat.
Oh, that's an amazing flick.
They figured out the captain was doing the guy when they kicked his ass and threw him overboard or whatever.
Wasn't that Ernest Borgnine? I think it was. I remember him being in there. I mean, there was a series of people.
That movie, I think Shelley Winters was his wife, I believe.
I think so. It's coming back to me now, but I'll never forget that scene with her carrying that rope, trying to swim through that way, holding her breath, just getting it done. And then she gets that through. And then there's those looks. And that look, I saw it again in The Abyss. If you've never seen The Abyss, again, more freaking water. And he's got to let her die so he can trade the I don't know, something about oxygen, and she's got to die so he can get her out. And it was a great flick. I don't know if you ever saw it, The Abyss. Oh, who was in that? Oh gosh, I like him too. Richard Harris played a lead, and I can't remember the chick. It might have been like Barbara Hershey or something. I don't know.
Was it?
But anyway, they had to watch each other. He had to let her die.
Was that it?
It could have been.
Could have been one of those.
She's a total blank because I got to be honest. I was looking at Richard Harris all the time. I've always loved him. So I have no idea who the chick was. But anyway, he had to watch her die. And it was the saddest thing. His whole little face told the whole story. But more water, more drowning. I don't like it, Steve. I'd rather not. Thank you very much. Let it just be known. That's all I'm saying.
The wind shifted, however.
Oh my gosh.
So it seems more probable that the small boat was blown southeast, away from the island and out into the vast reaches of the Atlantic, to disappear forever. When the Mary Celeste was found on December 5th, the last entry on her log slate was for the morning of November 25th,
with the
11 days earlier. This entry put the Mary Celeste 6 miles north of the island of Santa Maria in the Azores. With the set of her sails, and with no one at her helm, her natural course would be roughly at right angles to the wind. This presumably was how, over the 10 days, she covered the 750 miles between the last entry in the log and the position where she was first sighted by the Dei Gratia. What has been reenacted seems to be the most likely explanation. But whatever the cause of the panic, Captain Morehouse was certain of one thing.
Captain Briggs bore the highest character for seamanship and correctness, and would not, I think, desert his ship except to save his life.
The Mary Celeste became a marked ship. Sailors being superstitious, no one wanted to own her, sail her, or have anything to do with her. She was sold and resold rapidly at well below her commercial value. 13 years after the events we have described, she was deliberately wrecked by her owners in a failed insurance fraud scheme. On Rochelle's Reef off Haiti, she quickly broke up. And today, there is no more trace of her than there is of Captain Briggs and his crew of that fateful voyage of 1872.
That powerful water there, Steve. Let's see what we got coming up.
Lost civilizations, extraterrestrials, myths and monsters.
That's what we've got. A couple of these left that we haven't covered, and one of them is Glenn Miller, and I'm looking forward to that, especially getting your take on it, and from the missing persons aspect.
Person story right there.
I mean, so we're going to do that one maybe next Monday. We're going to do it for Halloween, so we've got a lot of stuff coming up Halloween.
Yeah.
And this is going to announce it a little bit. Hey, Scott, how you doing, sweetheart? Sorry I didn't get to talk to you much last night.
Hey,
so
Scott,
good to see you.
Good to see you,
so good to see you. Glad to have you back, babe. I know he's been working hard. Everybody's painting and caulking and packing and getting all kinds of things ready. Some people are. I'm so glad to see you. Hey, Bobby, how you doing, darling? Hope everybody is safe tonight. So what we're going to try to do is we're doing a couple things for Halloween. This is which one is this one?
Tell me.
I think this is the book. If you have not read Steve and I have a book, and it's been out a while, but here's the cabin. That's coming up. We are going to start reading, doing the Cabin 22 on, I had the date. That's what I was messing with. I think it's the last Sunday last week in October. So I think it's a Tuesday night. We're going to start it and run it all the way through.
Good deal. If you've never seen it before, heard it before, you don't want to miss it. And if you have heard it before, you want to hear it again.
A war over sour soil and sacred lands. Hey, what's going on, boys? Right now, I'm telling you, I think I was a prophet there, Steve. A haunted mountain cabin. A war, good versus evil. Dave has a 2-week vacation. And it's Halloween. What could go wrong? It's a fun time. And we're not doing it in 6 weeks. We're going to do it in 6 nights. So we're going to do 6 consecutive nights live, starting 8 o'clock every night from that Tuesday. I think it's the 22nd. And we're going to run it all through. If you've heard it before, please come in, join the chat. And if you can, here's some recipes. If you want to join the crowd and you want to be part of the story. Yep, it's back. It's back. It's that wonderful apple pie, Mrs. McGee's apple pie moonshine. So there's an alcoholic version. I can't speak, and a virgin version, and a non-alcoholic version as well. And they're both good if you want to have it for the kids. They can join in. I think the story is, okay for kids. Little ones it might scare when the dogmen come out, but if you like it. It's great as a slushie. Here's the recipe. You can screen shoot it later or go back and look at the video. And Mrs. McGee is a fantastic character in the story Cabin 22. She's a major character in it, and she's kind of cool. She's got some good secrets, I think, doesn't she, Steve? There's the recipe. I'm telling you, it'll mess you up because it doesn't taste like. It's got Fireball. Vanilla flavored vodka, and apple cider works best, but you can use apple juice to kind of give you a little something to look forward to Halloween. It's kind of neat. It's almost like listening to an audio book in 3D because everybody's drinking the same thing and tasting the same stuff. It's really cool. We do it every Halloween. Yep, and it goes great with popcorn. For sure does. And that's a little note there from Mrs. McGee. You'll like that character. I think all the characters are kind of cool. And you'll like the voices. Okay, so I thought I would throw in here a couple of ghost videos. And it's not exactly haunted objects, but it's things messing with objects. Now, the story on this one, Steve, did you want to say anything about Mrs. McGee's moonshine? No, apple pie moonshine. I
don't drink, so I'd have to have the non-alcoholic
You'd have to have.
Version.
It's really good as a smoothie. Like not a smoothie. The frosted one. The frozen. It's almost like a Slurpee because you could do apple cider and it's got the cinnamon and stuff like that. So basically, it's like an apple cider kind of frosty, I guess. But it's really, really good. It's really refreshing. And by then it'll be almost the end of October. So you'll be kind of feeling pumpkin-y and, all that extra Halloween-y. So anyway, I threw a couple of these in here because some of these are ghosts. It's not haunted objects. It's not phantom objects, I don't believe. And it wouldn't really come under the category of something like a phantom train. This is more ghosts messing with objects to get your attention. And it seems sometimes they stick to one thing, like, say, a door, a certain door in a closet or a pantry or an attic. And it's that constant on that door, that doorknob. In this case, it's a weird ice maker. I've never seen one like this. Usually they're in some kind of a refrigerator, I would guess. But every night, this young girl, she's got an apartment. She's living, I guess it's an older place. I don't know. And she keeps getting woke up in the middle of the night with the ice maker going off and making weird noises, and the lid, or not so much a lid, but the grinding and all this other stuff going on. So she posted this one time on her social media, and she asked for help. And then a bunch of people like put in the comments what people do, look what happens now. And then she just got scared and took it all down. And I have no explanation past that, but it's a really good picture. I want you to look close. So what she's doing is, this is one of a couple of times she got up to record after she heard the sound from the ice maker. Here we go. You see it? Turns on the light, it's gone. Now, I have it rewound a couple of times. That's at regular speed. Here it is slowed down. Look right there. Did you see it? I feel like a Nuke Stop 5. There it comes again. Now, here's the ice maker. You see it's blue. It's up in the corner. You'll see it closer later. Here it is slowed down. I can see her arms and everything. Look at that. Like a t-shirt, pants, almost like bell bottoms. Or PJs, something like that. It's a little kid. There's the ice maker. So this is the ice maker that was making all kinds of noise. Did you guys get to see it really good, that picture of that kid? Did you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I saw it.
Let's see if I can slow it down. Right there. Whoop, a little more. As soon as she turns on the light, it's gone. Right there. That's just, I don't know. I don't know, chat. What do you think? You see it? See, John sees it. Hey, John, how you doing, honey? So this next one, and again, that was all about, she thought she had a haunted ice maker. Do you see where I'm going with this? She thought in the whole story and everything else, and I didn't pull up that whole thing, but she started beginning, and everybody in the chat was saying, you have a haunted ice maker. It's, where did you get it? That kind of thing. And I can see why people would go that route. But here in just this brief moment in time, she got extremely lucky and found out it wasn't the object that was haunted. It was a ghost messing with the object. Like it would, similar to me, I guess, like I said, a door banging, a cabinet doors opening, this kind of stuff. You get me, don't you see? Are you tracking me, yeah. Steve? You're tracking me. All right. Here's the next one. Oh, it's just so creepy. I feel sorry for the kid. See, right away, my heart goes out to this kid. Why is this kid there? Why is there somebody crossing the kid over? You know what I'm thinking. She looks young, like 8 years old. And then the next day you go in there and you don't know it, and you just think about it, creeps you out. And you go and get ice, and you put a Coke, your orange juice in that thing. The ghost been messing with that ice. How you know that ghost wasn't taking ice cubes out, sucking on, putting them back in? It's a kid. So now you got ghost spit all over your ice. You don't know.
Sure.
Here's another one. This is creepy. So this one totally doesn't fit any of my theories. So it's just a ghost flick, and I wanted to show it to you. So don't look for the connection because there isn't any. But this one is, these bother me so much, Steve. I don't know. A lot of it coming out, and again, Steve and I don't even wonder if they're real or not, because in there somewhere there's a real one. We just don't know which one it is, so we don't bother anymore. They're just fun to watch. So all the ones where the person is like maybe a security guard, and on the camera is catching them like, hey, come on in, sign the register. And they're talking to somebody that the camera doesn't see, like a vampire. They're not showing up on the picture. You feel me? There's a lot of those coming out now with all these Ring cameras and doorbell, all those things. This is one like that, but it's a little creepier because it's almost got that Blair Witchy kind of feel where they're just standing there really still and not moving, like almost like not so much ghosts, but maybe you caught someone jumping time and they just like got in the wrong spot and they're trying to click their machine. They're trying to get to leap to the next thing, like they're quantum leaping to the next thing or something, because it doesn't seem like ghosts, but they disappear. All right, here, we'll just look at it. I'll shut up. But it's crazy. They make me nuts. Look at him. They just, when he turns on the light. Now watch. Isn't that weird? And he goes out. And it's like, get out of there, get out of there. Here he comes. Get out of there. Move. I'm gonna open my gate. What the heck? You know? That kind of thing. Hey, hey. He gets in his truck. Turns out, and they're gone. What? Do you see it? It's crazy.
In utter disbelief, the property owner sees the two strangers disappear without a trace.
Look at that.
Clearly, there had been two individuals standing outside, but somehow they vanish as soon as the lights are flashed again.
You could see their jeans, everything.
Now, how exactly this happened is something viewers can't seem to explain, and with little info on this clip, the video becomes even more mysterious. If two strangers were seen on camera, then how is it possible that they suddenly disappeared?
Isn't that creepy? Oh, this one's good too. So what did you think about that last one? It's almost like they're not moving, but you can see the muscles in their butt. I mean, it's so clear. You can see the way the jeans, you know what I mean, are wrinkled and curved. And it's not like there's two dummies out there or two scarecrows that he's got dressed up and then they just disappear unless he cut the, you know, I can see the ways you could fake it. But if it's not fake and it's real, what is it? Does that make sense? How do they just disappear like that? Because it almost seemed like when he turned the light on and off or whatever that was there at the end, it was almost like you could see a, like almost like a leftover. And I don't know whether that's a trick on the eyes, you know, like you stare at a light too long, the light goes out, but you still see the light for a minute. I don't know if it's something like that. What do you think? They caught him in a quantum leap, didn't they?
I think so.
That's the most logical answer. Okay. Now this guy, this is creepy. There's nothing like outrageously unexplainable as far as the paranormal and supernatural go here. There's nothing new. But the thing is, I liked it because it has an animal involved, the dog, which I follow the dog, follow the cat, because they're going to see more than you're seeing, and they're going to hear it and feel it before you do. So the thing with this guy, he moved after this because he was having a lot of stuff. But I think it's the buildup I love the best. So tell me what you think. I like it. It's just a guy, and he's hearing banging upstairs in the attic. And he's not going the first night. You're going to hear it in a minute. Here it is. Can you hear it? Yeah, really, man.
Until the next morning that he decided to leave from the safety of his room.
So that got cut off. Let me tell you what happened. So he spends the whole night in there. You can hear people up in the attic. He waits till the morning, and then he decides he's going to go up into this attic. And it's an old house, as you can see by the stairs and the doorknobs and the fixtures and everything. This is an old house, and it's just creeping me out. So watch.
To investigate the attic space. He treads carefully as to avoid any physical confrontations.
In any nook and cranny, it's probably crouched down. It's probably in there. Because that's what they do. They get in there and they just...
As Nick looks around and checks every corner, he sees that no one is there. Not even traces of a person, such as footprints, can be found anywhere. This was definitely strange. But Nick doesn't really think much of it, since plenty of other strange things have happened before inside his apartment. Though, it would be a few nights later when the strangest encounter happens. Nick is once again woken up by strange noises from his attic.
See, just look, just this piece, and look, guys, I've walked down into dark. I have to get into a headspace to do this. When I'm just out here, just being me, you know, this stuff bothers me. If I was hot, you know, if somebody was having a problem, I had to go down into this thing, you know, just do it. No, it's different. But it's different. So when I watch stuff like this, it creeps me out just like everybody else. I'm like, oh man, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Just like being in that lifeboat. It's just like, oh my gosh.
Only this time, he decides to check it out as it happens. Needless to say, what's captured here is pretty spooky.
And he's just sitting there looking down that dark, you know, hallway. Oh, weird noises. Stop it. Just get up and handle it.
It's like opening a
So here it is. It's messing with the door. It's all about the door. Come up into the attic. Come up into the attic. Come. This is what they do. Come. That.
The door to the attic somehow opens on its own as soon as Nick approaches it. Feeling spooked, Nick is completely unsettled by this incident. It's now apparent that something strange is going on. But as if things couldn't get any more creepy, the following night, Nick is recording his dog when he captures this.
It's always the puppies, you know? You gotta pay attention.
What was that?
That's such a good dog. Look how he's protecting him. He's right there. He's looking down that hallway. He knows what's up.
What was that?
He knows. He never took his eyes off it. So creepy. No. That doorknob, man. I mean, you absolutely think that, Henry. It's like you'd open the front door, that door opens, heck yeah, draft, you know? But, you know, I don't know, there's more to it. Look at this dog. He's so brave. He's a brave boy. It's like, it's in here, Dad. Look, right there. I got it cornered. It's right there. I was waiting for him to go into like just a growl, you know, the hair standing up. I'm watching his back, see if the hair is standing up on his back. It's hard to tell with this type of dog. But it was creepy to me. I think the whole thing was just built. He moved out after this, so I don't know. Raccoons could be. So this is another one, and I showed it because it backs up what I just said. This is a little girl. She's in this big apartment building. I don't know where. Looks like it could be New York, Chicago, something like that. So first of all, I'm feeling bad this kid has to live like this. You know, because I can't imagine living in an apartment building like that. I know a lot of people do, and if you do it all the time, it's just a natural, normal thing. But I personally have never liked it. I don't like being that high up and having to go through so many other people to get out, you know. But anyway, she's a little girl, and she's coming down the stairs, and I guess this is like a storage, you know, thing, like in the stairwell. And it's people throwing garbage and all kind of mess in there. You know, you see the chair and garbage and stuff. So why I said this, there's a cat that I guess she's familiar with that comes along, and the cat is reacting a lot like the dog was. It's like looks right at it. And at the end, you're going to see what she's looking at. She's so brave. She just closes the door and says, nope, none of that for me today. Thanks. Watch what happens. Said, nope, big bag of nope. Hey, Charinator, how you doing, sweetheart? Welcome in. Welcome.
Steven.
Bye, honey. We're getting scared tonight. I'm glad you're here to be with us. Now watch what she looks at. For some reason, the cat comes along. All right, there's the cat. This is when she first sees it. And these animals are so brave. Now you can see something moving. You're going to get a close-up. Something's coming out of that paper. And I don't know if it's like a bum or something, or are we allowed to say bum on YouTube? Do we have to say homeless person? A tramp? You know, whatever. I don't know if there's something under the newspaper, but it looks like a hand. And she just says, nope, closes the door. She sees it. Can you see it? Just barely. You can see the fingers. And I just think it's so cool that these brave animals get between their person or a kid. You know, so many people shoo them away or tell a dog to quit barking, or, you know, like it's a nuisance to us. If people need to pay more attention. So this chair, here's an object that fits the category because it is a haunted chair. Now there's a little more to this. This couple got the chair. I don't know if she was pregnant, just had a baby. I can't remember what it was, but it's a young couple. They've got this living room camera, as you can see, and the camera reacts to movement. So it's a little bit better. Like the one I have doesn't move, it's just set. But this one reacts to movement, and it, as you can see, is very movable and is being moved. So they have this chair, and on the back of the chair, for no apparent reason, I can't figure out whether it's some kind of joke or what, but there is a big 666 written in gold, real pretty writing, on the back of this rocking chair. And I guess it creeped them out. I mean, it would creep me out, and they were just going to get rid of it. But instead of putting it on the stoop, they put it on Marketplace or something like that. So the people are going to buy it. This is the night before the person who bought the chair was coming to pick it up. It was going on the porch the next day, and the whole living room starts going nuts. Now watch this. It moves before the movement happens that we can see. So the camera detected movement over there by that shelf and then back again to them.
Now,
wild. Watch that. That's the camera moving naturally to movement that we don't see. And then the thing happens. That's weird. So it's seeing something. I don't know whether that's like a mist or an anomaly or what. But this chair, you know, the night before all this happens, before the chair's getting picked up. Now, I wish I knew the end of the story, but this is the last night. It's crazy. So haunted objects, you know, I would like to know if the people that picked that chair up, if, you know, they had stuff going on in their house and stuff too. You know, this one, I forget which one this is. Which one is this one? Oh, this one's good. So this one has a story. Now, this guy is a gravedigger, as you can see. He runs the machine, and he's basically saying that when he does something like this, you know, digs into it, sometimes the day he goes home, things follow him home. And I think in this case, that's what happened. But I picked this one to tell you all a story. When I was 10, this was really creepy, and things like this just kept happening to me. Ask Steve, to both of us. So there was a nice guy when my mom was in the hospital. There was always a lot of adults around, you know, a lot of different things adults were doing, because I was my mom wound up getting sick when we were on a couple of states. We were moving, and right in the middle, she got sick. So I wound up in this, you know, staying at the hotel. She went to the hospital and didn't come back. So we were still waiting for relatives and everything else to come by. So when that was happening, I was meeting a lot of the family who owned the hotel and their relatives. And there was a really nice guy named Carlton. I'll never forget him because he was just a cool dude. And he was I thought he was the best thing in the world, because like I'm 10, 11 years old. And here's this older guy, you know, just being nice to a kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything creepy. Now you look at it, you go, oh my God, you know. But anyway, I can remember him asking if he could take me to the arcade and get me a hot dog and take me out until, you know, my relatives and stuff got there. And again, like you would say, you'd probably cringe today to hear a story like that. But nothing happened. He was a cool dude. He took me to the arcade. He got me a hot dog and all this other stuff. And I just thought he was so funny, and he told me jokes. And I only knew him like a couple of days. And then he was supposed to come back, and we were going to go. He was going to teach me how to ride. He had a bunch of horses, right? So I was looking forward to that. And then I heard some people talking, and it wasn't good. And I heard him say his name, and he came and told me, and that adult kid, sit the kid down and let me tell you some bad news kind of thing. Carlton out of nowhere had decided to unalive himself, which I never believed, because when we were in the car and we were going places, you didn't have cell phones and things like that. He was stopping, and he was making phone calls a lot on the pay phones, you know, the booths. It was a lot of different things I was picking up, watching his movements and stuff. And I thought he was maybe into gambling, is what I thought. Even at a 10, 11-year-old, I was able to figure this out. No joke. And I didn't say anything, but I knew a little bit. Anyway, he had supposedly unalived himself with a hose in the car with the exhaust, that kind of thing, in the garage, right? Way too smart to, you know, that's not an accidental thing, obviously, because there's a hose and then, you know, all that stuff. So anyway, the adults are talking at the table and don't realize I can hear, and what the adult had said. Now, this guy was a mechanic, and I'll never forget the sentence he said. He said the day before, he had finally fixed the backhoe that they used at the graveyard to dig the graves, and this morning they turned it on to dig his. I've never forgotten that story, and every time I see something like this, you know, Steve, those coincidences, you know, the day before, and he said, and then I remember the guy in the room, you know, the older man that said to his wife, he said he virtually dug his own grave, and that just echoed in my head. You see what I mean, Steve? Isn't that awful? But that's what this reminded me of. So there you go. Nice story for everybody. Happy Halloween. Love you, Carlton. Love you, Carlton. I still don't believe I think there was some kind of gambling thing going on. You know what I mean? It just wasn't his personality. And I've always questioned people that they say that ever since then. I've always been, let's look into that a little bit. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, looking into.
At a young age, I guess I was being groomed for this. I didn't have a chance. All right, so I forget what happened. Oh, he catches
in the basement. Yeah. I swear,
you're gonna see
someone.
It's one of those where the catches are really good.
Exactly.
Full figured. It was right there. You'll see it in a minute.
It's kind of creepy.
One of those where you go by and you catch it and he didn't see.
Power, so that's good. But the rest of the basement's power.
It's a nice basement.
It's completely out.
I mean, as far as basements go.
Which is very strange.
Okay, you're going to see it right here. Because again, a lot of this time they think there's something there. They're actually looking for it, but don't even see it.
We'll see, I guess.
This is a real nice backyard too. Look at his backyard view.
No, nothing
nice, right?
There. I don't know.
Okay.
There's been a lot of strange things happening.
Now it happens real fast, but in case you missed it, if you look closely as the man pans the camera to the bathroom, you can see what appears to be a strange shadow-like figure standing completely still inside a bathtub.
See his neck?
It doesn't appear to be moving at all, as if who or whatever this was.
Right there, you see him? You can see he's got one arm up, almost like on the wall. That's why I said some of these are like Blair Witch Project kind of stands. You know, everybody's just standing still. But how creepy is it? Somebody's just standing still. It almost looks like he has lighter pants, a dark t-shirt, you know, short sleeve, because you can almost see where the sleeve stops and the arm starts. You can see his haircut and his neck and the scoop of it. That's crazy. You know? And he's been hearing all kind of banging and things like that. And I wish I could talk to this guy and see, you know, does he know anybody that can just, before he leaves his job, you know, make sure that anything that's just tagging onto him because it's somebody that they see there that has a cool energy or something like that. If maybe he can, you know, get de-ghosted before he goes home is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Because this is sad. You know, because they're, especially if they're just, he's not belonging to this house, or, you know, the story starts there in that property. And it's just like working at a hospital, you know, and having nurses and stuff like that, the people following them home because they're just attracted to that, you know, that familiar energy. You know what I mean? To me, it's sad.
Had been entirely stiff. Even creepier is that when the man returns to the bathroom, the figure is no longer there. Given its strange appearance and sudden disappearance, the man thinks that something supernatural was captured. But as always, I'll leave it to you to come up with your own conclusions. Could it be that someone had broken in and quickly hid away from the man? Or might this be something completely different?
And oh man, it's creepy. Okay, this is one that we saw before, but this is, again, not really a haunted object, more a ghost, I believe, is using the object. Because I don't know, would you say you got a haunted window, Steve? You remember this one? This was so cute because it was an older man. He didn't really, you know, he was kind of fudging around with the cameras and stuff like that, but he got a really good catch, I think. Do you remember this one? Here we go. It's just a short one.
Get a visit tonight.
Yep, haunted dolls. So glad, Scott. Good to see you, baby. Go ahead, hanging. We'll have one for me, babe. Isn't that something, Steve? That's a good catch.
It really is.
And he was so excited. Now this one, I don't know what to call it. Jumper? I mean, it's really clear. All right, see him? Did you see him come in just out of nowhere? Walks into this guy. Jumper. Just like Fallen. I don't know, so many different things, but that, I think we just saw a jumper, guys. I really do. Here it comes. It's like a hitchhiker. And this guy was an easy jump, maybe infirmed or sad or whatever. And he's like, okay, I'll ride in here for a while. Jumper. And I wonder, the guy almost seemed to stagger his step just a little bit, like he felt something. I wonder if he felt sick, felt different, angry, sad, you know. I think we just witnessed something that I've seen happen in bars so many times. So many people in there are easy targets, you know, and they're drawn to the energy and the atmosphere and the music and the taste of alcohol. If they can jump in you like this and have a quick beer, or, you know, get you to gamble, or God knows what else, you know, for a short amount of time, that's a jumper. What do you think, Steve? Could be.
I agree.
It's almost, you want to know, was he standing there going, what the hell was that, man? I feel funny, you know? I mean, you just got to wonder.
Seriously.
Yeah. Because I've seen it in bars. I've seen them react different right after, and it's crazy. This one, I just got to throw it up there because it creeps me out. I don't care if it's CGI. I don't care if we caught a little gremlin. It's just creepy. That's creepy. It reminds me so much of those what were those claymation things with was it Sinbad and the Seven Pirates, or what was that mess back in the day?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
You know what I mean? They were like claymation kind of things. It almost looks like something like that. But what if they're little gremlins, like, you know, like that movie Gremlins, where they get in there and they mess up with your engine, and, you know, they make bad things happen, and, you know, I don't know. Now this was huge controversial because this whole show was BS, I think. I believe it was BS. But look, it's creepy.
Yep, I definitely
remember.
Yeah.
Is that creepy? This whole thing came out, and I think it was very much like a Blair Witch Project, where the whole thing was BS. But that's creepy. Even thinking having to be down there in a costume getting ready to do this was creepy. Here's a creepy crawler.
A strange creature crawling by
now,
the factory.
This one I know I've shown Steve before, but look at how much detail you can see this. It almost looks like one of those glow-in-the-dark skeletons being dragged across the road, but you can see through it. Look at this.
It swiftly goes in the other direction. This
pulling itself across the road.
To be a wandering ghost by many, and according to our source, the truck driver didn't notice anything at all, but heard creepy noises by the truck.
That's the one that reminds me of that story you tell, Steve, with the black thing that crawled the road, and they hit it, and then they went back, and it was gone. All that was gone.
Couldn't find what it was, or no sign of it.
Just the mere amount of things that people are catching on cameras, you know, that's not a bug, it's not a raindrop or spider web or anything like that. Just the real stuff.
The infamous rake was,
you know, imagine the stuff that's walking around out there that you just don't even know. I can attest to the fact that there's stuff everywhere. It's crazy.
And some even found dead livestock with punctured necks.
That's creepy.
Creep with its long arms and slender body.
Yep.
Makes me feel goosebumps.
Two long front arms that it uses to stalk.
Planet. Oh yeah, Jason and the Argonauts. Yep. Sinbad. Yep. That was it. Stop motion animation. Yep.
Sinbad and the Seven Voyages of Sinbad or something like that. Yeah.
I'll take a beer.
Ray Harryhausen, I think, made those creepy
Did he?
Animation things like that.
Yeah. Okay, so here's the other recipe for Cabin 22. This is the much loved bacon caramel popcorn. There, I said it. It is absolutely fabulous. So if you want to be prepared, if you want to be prepared for Cabin 22 and Jake and just, you know, all of them, you know, Rage and Dave and Mr. and Mrs. McGee and the Rougarou and the Bigfoots and the ghosts and the murder mystery and Susan, the wonderful ghost man, all of these different Tater, come and get your, you know, bring popcorn, bring snacks, bring your apple pie moonshine. Here's the recipe. It's really easy. It's like you can do the caramel in the frying pan. You put the popcorn in there. It makes great decorations. Look at how cool that is. That's like dollar store stuff painted black, turned upside down. Fabulous. So you can do all kinds. You can make popcorn balls. You wouldn't like the caramel bacon popcorn balls. Hard to say. So there you go. Happy Halloween. It's officially Halloween month. And I hope you'll be here on the 22nd, Tuesday, 8 p.m. And we're going to start Cabin 22. And if you have not read the book that Steve and I wrote together, it is called We Are All Children in the Wilderness of the Afterlife, A Guided Tour Through a Haunted Life. There are some great ghost stories in there. They happen to me. They happen to Steve. And a couple of them happened to both of us at the same time. So there's the book. It is available on Amazon. You can get it in ebook. You can get it in paperback. And I would love it if you'd read it and leave an honest review. And it's doing pretty good. 4.5 stars, I believe. And, you know, I like the fact that people are reading it and being taken away into the experience that I'm explaining so you can, you know, help sort it in your own mind in case you want to match it up to an experience that you had or one that you heard about that you want to learn more about. There's a lot of different things that happen in that book. So there you go. That's what we have planned for Halloween. I think it's going to be kind of cool. I'm trying to get in as much as I can for Halloween spooky season, because I am going to be continuing to work on as much help as I can give the survivors that are still needing our help. It's going to be a long haul. And now we have people leaving Florida, trying to get out of there because they've got another one coming right up their butts. And I highly recommend that you keep abreast of these things. I'm just going to take a moment to say this, because if it helps one person, there are so many things, that you need to do to prepare yourself for things like this. Don't have your paperwork, important stuff spread all over. You should have copies of things like your Social Security card, your ID, your deed to your house, your insurance papers, your car, medical, any of that, prescription stuff. Get a little extra, put a little back. Put a little back. Tell them you accidentally dumped it down the toilet or something. Get a little extra of those medications. Put them up. Have a little bit in a bug out bag with some water, some power bars, some beef sticks, some jerky, a road map, extra batteries, a crank radio, that doesn't need batteries, and maybe it's a flashlight too. Those kind of things. It doesn't take much. A little first aid kit. Throw it all in there. Have one for your pets. Have one for each heartbeat in your home. Have a full tank of gas. There's a lot of different weather coming up. There is a lot of weather that has already happened. And I have spent every waking moment, even at work, listening to podcasts, trying to hook up. Okay, where's the next drop? What town is that in? What county is that in? What high school is that in? What church is that at? What stadium is it? I've got people here in this county that one person has a car. They can get out and they can get supplies to this place, but they only have so much gas. Is there gas when they get there? These kind of things. And it started out in, I want to say 5 states, really, because one mostly had their stuff together. One got their stuff together pretty quick. And then there's 2, Tennessee and North Carolina, that are really, and that's not to say that people aren't in other places, but what we're focusing on, because the devastation continues, we are now into day what, so, and there's a lot of other stuff going on. We won't get into that now. But I can tell you, Tennessee is in very good hands right now. They do need supplies. They do need things like right now. You think you can do nothing. What can I do? I have no money. I don't have this. I don't have a car. I don't have a bulldozer or a chainsaw, or I can't take off from work 2 weeks to go help, whatever. There are other things you can do. You can do things like, whatever your social media is, tap people. Like, you'd be surprised what a little nudge can do. Okay. And I promise you, I'll be done with this in a second, but if we can help one family, one person, one animal, it's worth it. So you can nudge somebody in a hashtag like, hey, Dollar Tree. They're in great need in Jonesboro, Tennessee, in Newport, Tennessee, in Asheville, North Carolina, in, such and such a place. How about, look, I know a lot of people on the ground that, these supplies can get to. How about donating a couple of cases of the large chafing dishes for, like the buffet, the banquets, and a couple cases of sterno, some paper plates, things like that. So you can push on people like that when you bring it to the attention on social media in a nice way, not, hey, you should be donating more. I mean, if you want to go that route, go that route. But I'm telling you, you get more. Look, Roadhouse rules. Be nice till nice no longer works. Okay. That's how I live my life. So, try that. You'd be surprised what, a bunch of people on social media pushing like that. We got Walmart to donate a bunch just out of, we shame them. So this is the power of the internet. If they're going to give this to us, we can do so much with it. And you'd be surprised on just connecting numbers. I spent days just connecting ham radio repeaters with people, trying to get information out. Now we're getting Starlinks up into the mountains. We're getting Starlinks to these people. Somebody here said they broke through Starlink. Was that you, Henry? Just so they can get comms out. I'm trying to get attorneys that can set up tents, that can help people set up paperwork. People that can just talk to these people. A lot of people I'm talking to, these tents, they just want something normal, a hot cup of coffee, a sandwich, somebody who cares, and knowing that they're going to have help walking through the steps. If I could get somebody down there that, have a van and take, 20 people at a time down to the DMV so they can apply to get licenses that they lost, whatever it may be, so to fill out paperwork. So we're trying to do that, set up these tents. I want tents for the folk to sit around the wood burning stove and playing checkers and playing cards and visiting and getting community again, so they feel like they have not lost their home. They may have lost their structure, but their home is there intact. The people are there intact, and that is for every county, every town, every place affected. So if you could help in any way, you don't need my guidance. Just dive in, pick a place, ask people. Are they okay? What do they need? Can they get to the place the supplies are, or do the supplies have to get to them? We have boots on the ground right now that are circumventing getting supplies up into the mountain in Asheville, that whole mountain. Trust me, folks, there's still people there. There's still. And they have to circumvent it, and they're doing it with mules, with goats, backpacking it on people's backs, following a rope around a ridge just to get in through the strangers helping strangers. So please don't think you can't do anything. You can hook something up. You got a bunch of kids in your family, have them fill out cards, put them in an envelope, put them all in a yellow envelope, send it to one of these drop-offs and say, put these in the bags you're handing out to kids. Let them know kids in Oshkosh B'gosh cares about them. That humanity is still out there. Listen, anything you can do to be a good human is going to keep you from, possibly, if you happen to pass and you decide you're going to be a ghost, at least you'll be a good ghost and not an ass soul, as we say. So all of these things, helping each other as light workers, sending good light out there, sending good energy, for people to get out of these traffic jams, to get out of Florida, to get to safety. Thank goodness we've learned from this. And we're talking about taking your pets and your animals with you if you can, heeding the warning, moving early, going, stop all this. I can't afford, I can't do. Listen, not only are lives being shifted right now, and everything is being shook up. The whole land is, the topography of the land is changing at this point, So we have to be smart. We have to understand that we can make it together. We can connect together. We can reach out. We can talk to people. We can be positive. We can focus. If you happen to see on social media, these people wish they had more paper plates, go, hey, Dollar Tree, these people could use some paper plates. Come off a couple cases. You get that stuff on a pallet and you tell me where it is. I'll get a truck there to pick it up, and I know where to send it. So get in there. And, if all you can do is to prepare yourself so you're better prepared if something happens, then you might not just be able to help yourself. You'll be able to help a neighbor or help somebody else. So let's think about that. I had to say that because, listen, I've been in this all day, every day. I'm not boots on the ground. I don't have mud under my fingernails, but let me tell you something. I'm invested, heart and soul. And I've got stories that would break your heart. And you don't need to hear them. You just need to know and listen to the sound of my voice. These are Americans who need help. And I hope that when they get on their feet, they'll reach out and they will spread that light and give back, because people are being changed. Their consciousness is being changed right now. That's what you feel. And it really is like to stand, folks. Okay. So I wanted to say that being the truth there, you have to also, like I said, as a light worker, as whether you're interested in the paranormal or whatever, make sure that if you're looking at a lot of dark stuff, which I do all the time, it's like 24/7. I mean, I'm already researching for like an axe murder here and this over here. I'm speaking from experience. There's a lot of loosh going on in the world right now, all around. So you have to be careful when you dive in. You have to come back out and re-hit the light, because that darkness, you'll find out that getting pulled into like social media or stories or, news or any of that, even shows on right now, music, everything is going to have that extra frequency of fear, and it's not all, organic, if you know what I mean. Some of it's on purpose, and it's going to be harder and harder. So what you're doing as a light worker, an empath, if you have any abilities, if you have that, if your third eye is open, if you're raising your consciousness, if you're right now at this time getting all that woke up, it can really bombard you and feel extremely heavy. So it's not just the storm is coming and the barometric pressure is changing, and that's what you're feeling in your joints, and that heavy, humidity kind of pressure. It's not just that, it's the world, and it's the energy, and you can deflect it. I want you to remember, you can deflect it at any time, just focusing on that inner light. Just focus, and all you have to do is close your eyes and just focus right in your center and imagine that warm light. And then imagine feeling that warm light expanding out in every direction across your body and pushing out. And you can actually feel the warmth. You can start to see the glow through your eyelids. You can see the glow. It's like a candle's glow. And you're closer and closer to that candle. You can feel the warmth on your face. And pretty soon the light is outside and surrounding your body. And you're just projecting this light. You put your palms out and push. And just projecting that light out into the world. You lift your face up. And you just imagine it going out into infinity. And you send it out into the world. And don't forget, when you pull back in, you reach some of that good energy. And you pull all of that right back into you. And then you open your eyes. That is a very quick dispelling of negativity, pulling in only the positive to refresh, and then keep going. Because, brother, I need you out there. I need you in this. I need you putting your light out there. I need you to loving people. Need you to be nice until nice no longer works. Roadhouse. Right? There we go. Steve, what did you want to say, sweetheart?
What you just said.
There we go. All right, let's run through some of these really quick, and then we can close out the night. I got a couple more objects here, well haunted, things and stuff. So I'll do the first one, and it's one we just talked about, the Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste is another enduring maritime mystery. This American brigantine was found adrift in the Atlantic Ocean in 1872. It was, Steve, with its crew mysteriously missing, as we saw. The ship was in good condition with ample provisions on board, but there was no sign of the captain, his family, or the crew. Over the years, various theories have been proposed, ranging from mutiny, piracy, to natural disasters, and even paranormal explanations. That's the one I'm going with. The ship's eerie abandonment and the lack of clear explanation have led to its reputation as a ghost ship. So I think, yeah, Roadhouse rules, D-Rock, I'm telling you. Swayze crazy. So there you go. This is one you brought up, Flying Dutchman. Do you want to read it?
The Flying Dutchman, a legendary ghost ship said to be doomed to sail the oceans forever. Sightings of this spectral vessel have been reported for centuries, often seen glowing eerily in the distance. And like I mentioned earlier, they have full sails, but going against the wind. So it's just weird. And they see like a crew of skeletons on board and stuff.
Yeah, that one's creepy. That one I know, heard about it as a kid, and I could always imagine. I think there was a couple of pirate, before the Pirates of the Caribbean, and had all the which I just love because of the Skull Pirates and all that stuff. Who would? Yeah. Oh, my gosh, There you go. Ghost carriages. You want to get that one?
I'll get it. The ghost carriages of London. In various parts of London, people have reported seeing ghostly carriages, often drawn by spectral horses and driven by shadowy figures. These apparitions are thought to be echoes of past events replaying in the present.
Absolutely. And we told the story in I can't remember what castle it was. Boy, I wish Ted was here. Ted could tell us, because listen, Ted's got one of these in his home. His house goes back to what, 13 something, doesn't it? I mean, it goes way, way back there. I mean, I was astonished when I heard. He's got the priest walled up in the fence there and the outside brick wall and some other kind of mess. Somebody down a well. I think he's got a couple bodies down there. I'm not sure.
All that himself?
No, I don't think he had anything to do with it. I think he just knows they're there. No. Ted didn't do it. Well, I'm not real sure. He does get kind of feisty sometimes. But anyway, no, Ted didn't do it. But he does have a ghost carriage. We'll have to get him to tell it. That goes by, and you can hear the horses and everything else. And there's another story about this one where a guy got drunk, and he bet that he could get his horse and carriage up the stairs in this winding stairwell of this house, and he did it, and it still has the marks on the stairs and everything else, and it says that you'll hear that everyone, probably one of those stories like on the anniversary of the event, one of those, but you can hear that horse and carriage trying to get up those stairs. It's terrible to hear. I mean, there's a recording about it going up, and it's just terrible. Anyway, I don't like animal I wish animals didn't have to be ghosts. And there's that might be it right there, Steve. You want to get that one? Phantom Stagecoach.
The Phantom Stagecoach of the Black Forest. In Germany's Black Forest, there are tales of a ghostly stagecoach that appears on foggy nights, driven by a headless coachman and pulled by black horses.
Yep. See, now this one got me. Have you heard about this one, the Busby Stoop chair? It just looks like a normal chair, right?
The one that they have to hang up on the wall to keep anybody sitting in it. Yeah.
That's where it is. This eerie tale originates from North Yorkshire, England, and centers around a man named Thomas Busby. The story of Busby's stoop chair. In the early 18th century, Thomas Busby was a notorious criminal who was sentenced to death for the murder of his father-in-law, Daniel Aughty. Before his execution, Busby was allowed to have a final drink at his favorite pub. Oh, that's nice. The inn was known as the Busby Stoop Inn. As he sat in his favorite chair, he allegedly cursed it, declaring that anyone who sat in it would die a terrible death. Can you imagine that being your last thing? You want to get that one?
Over the years, the chair gained a sinister reputation. Numerous people who sat in it reportedly met untimely and often violent ends. During World War II, airmen from a nearby base who sat in the chair never returned from their missions. In the 1970s, after several fatal accidents involving people who'd sat in the chair, the pub owner decided to donate it to the Thirsk Museum, where it was hung from the ceiling to prevent anyone from sitting in it.
How about that? Can you imagine? And the curse continues. Even in the museum, the chair's reputation persists. Visitors are warned not to touch it, and it remains a chilling reminder. Why don't they just, of Busby's curse? The story of Busby's stoop chair is a fascinating example of how an ordinary object can become a focal point for ghostly legends and superstitions. But, some jerk could sit in it. People lay on the couch that they think is the one that Lizzie Borden's dad was murdered in. It's a replica. It's not the real couch. But how morbid.
Yeah.
How morbid is that? You know, I mean, they get what they deserve. Here's the chair hanging on the ceiling. They don't want you to sit in it. You know, wow. I don't know. Could be true.
I wouldn't risk it just in case.
Yeah, why tempt stuff like that? I just don't know why. This one just gets me, Steve. You're gonna have to do this one. There's just so much bad stuff around this. This one's scary. Yeah,
the Dybbuk box is a wine cabinet that gained notoriety after being auctioned on eBay with a detailed account of its haunting. The box is said to contain a Dybbuk, a malicious spirit from Jewish folklore. The original owner reported a series of unfortunate events, including nightmares, health issues, and strange occurrences after acquiring the box. Subsequent owners have also experienced a similar phenomenon, leading to its reputation as one of the most haunted objects in the world.
How about that? I mean, didn't the guy originally buy it for his mother's birthday? Gives it to her. She has a stroke. She's got to write the stuff down because she can't talk anymore. And she's like, the box. She knew. And this guy still had, I think Unsolved Mysteries did a story originally on it, didn't they, Steve? But that was horrific. Wasn't it? Yeah. And his mom had a stroke. He gave it to her for the birthday. This is the original one when it first came into play. And of course he opens it and he knew the story about these two old lady. Well, I think they were sisters. I think they were elderly. I think it was during the war, if I recall correctly. And there was something going on with all this killing and everything else, much like Steve's story about old Green Eyes, you know, sucking up all the misery and hate and stuff off the wounded in Chickamauga during the Civil War. Similar to that. And it's one of these demons that's sucking around on all this like death and, you know, terrible stuff going on during the war. And supposedly these old ladies caught this thing. They caught this demon. This is probably the old version of catching a demon in a jar, Steve. And they catch this thing and they bind it down and they wrestle it apparently through their abilities and they shove it in this wine box and they put a bunch of symbols and stuff on it and they close it up and they bind it. And then it goes to an antique shop and this schmuck buys it for his mom and she has a stroke. And he knows the story. I don't understand why people do this. Why do people buy haunted dolls? Ghosts in your why?
Nope.
I don't get it. I mean, every there it is right there. Every convention and Paracon and stuff I go to, there's some guy, some lady walking around with a doll on their arm. This is haunted Sally. This is, haunted Timmy. This is haunted what? Why? What do you do? You're going to give your mother a stroke for the love of God. And why is he giving this to his mom for her birthday anyway? These are good questions, Steve. These are good questions. There's another one. You want to get that one? Because this one creeps me out too. And people touch it. Why?
Robert the Doll. Robert the Doll is a life-size doll that once belonged to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto in the early 1900s. The doll is said to be cursed, with reports of it moving on its own, giggling, and causing misfortune to those who disrespect it. Robert the Doll currently serves in the East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, where visitors are advised to ask for permission from the doll before taking photos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, but people still poke at it, Annabelle and all these other things too. And again, regardless if there's anything in there or not, regardless if it's just something that is making the doll move because you're talking to it and that's how it's getting to you and it's just hanging, whatever the reason, you're paying attention to it, you're giving it energy, and now you're probably taking it home with you. That's my, and giving it power. And RP says, do we know anything about the Nag's Head horses? I don't know. Have you, Steve?
I know is that the Nag's Head on the Outer Banks I think she's talking about?
I don't know. Maybe it's Phantom Horses. But there's the doll right there and this poor little creepy lion thing he's got in his hands.
I know there's some ponies on Ocracoke that are from that were
there's abandoned. So many, on any battlefield you can hear the horses running by. You mean cannons, bugles, is a real that happens frequently. But the horses and hearing them breathe and gallop as they go by is one of the creepiest things, I assure you. And I don't know if it's for me because I'm an animal empath. Like we've talked about this all the time. There's different levels of empaths, and you can have any combination of those things. I'm a world empath, a person in my environment, like so I'm affected. Like I go to Walmart, I'm drained. If I go to a hospital, I'm drained. If I go to a diner, I don't know why I'm drained. I think it's the kitchen. All the cooks forced to work in there. I don't know what it is. The waitresses and I don't know what it is, but it's diners and places like that, and movie theaters. Sometimes it depends on the movie, but and Steve's got the similar thing, but it's also animals. So if there's like wildfires, if there's any kind of distress like that, so right now I'm just basically a foobar.
We're empathic. Yeah. You pick up on it. You can't, you can guard yourself from it so much, but sometimes it'll blindside you.
It's rough. I mean, and I've been in it, it's like I might as well have been on it, walking around in the mud on the mountain. I feel like I've been there. God bless them. All right. So this one gets me too. And there's a lot of copies and people buy it, on, copies of it in fake ones on eBay and stuff. But again, I don't know why people are drawn to haunted objects and wanting to is it just that they want so bad to have an experience, Steve? They're just doing everything they can to get it proved to themselves.
Tempt fate too.
Yeah. All those that keep digging up all these gree bags and all of these, witch bottles and things like that. And, let's open the box. No, don't open the box. No, just put it down.
Remember that one paranormal show where they caught an evil spirit in a wooden box and they took it out in the woods and blew it up? Mm-hmm. If you had anything in there, you just let it go.
You just let it go. Don't burn it. Don't burn the Ouija boards. Don't burn the Ouija boards. Put it in the ground, salt it, bind it, holy water, anything else you want to add to it. Your mileage may vary. Put it down there, bury that son of a gun, and don't dig it up no more. Put a rock on top and, seal it. Put salt on top of it too. Just put a whole thing of salt in there. It's don't take any chances. You want to do the Anguished Man?
Yeah, the Anguished Man is a painting with a disturbing backstory. The artist allegedly mixed his own blood into the paint and then unalived himself shortly after completing the piece. Didn't want you to get a strike there. The painting is said to bring a sense of dread and unease to those who view it, and its owners have reported hearing whispers, seeing shadowy figures, and experiencing other paranormal activity. And it is a scary-looking painting. There you go.
Look at that. And why would you want that thing hanging in your living room anyway? I mean, I think by looking at that, it's causing me anguish. Whoever did it, the colors, the way it's put together, the whole thing. I don't know what was going on in this guy's mind, but he put a lot of himself into it. And it even if it's a print, you can still feel it. It's crazy. Yeah. It does put off an energy. It really, really does. That kid one, the crying one too, that does it too. Now it's currently owned by Sean Robertson, a resident of Cumbria, England. The painting certainly has history. When Sean was a young boy, he found himself drawn to the strange looking painting he found at his grandmother's house. He spent hours looking at it why would grandma have this on her wall? I don't know. A hologram, maybe one of the velvet paintings of Elvis. I could see that. Maybe the dog.
Poker or something.
Yeah. I was going to say dogs playing poker. You read my mind. But why this painting? Anyway, as though it had cast a spell on him. Well, I can see why. Years later, when his grandmother died, he ran right over there and had to have just that painting.
No, I want that.
She left the painting. Here, you can have this shit in painting. She left the painting to Sean, who skipped down the road with it, who at the time had a family of his own. He brought the painting back to his house, and strange events began to take place. Doors creaked in the middle of the night. Screaming noises, oh great, were heard, and the family was constantly being haunted by nightmares. Oh, jeez. You want to get that one? Can you see that one?
Yeah. When Sean realized that the strange occurrences were apparently caused by the painting, he decided to explore its origin. He discovered that the artist had used his own blood mixed with for the painting. The artist then did himself in soon after he had finished the painting. Despite the paranormal occurrences, Sean refuses to sell it and has it locked away in a secure place. There are several fake versions of the painting being sold on eBay.
Now Now this one got to me too. Now apparently I hadn't heard about this, so I tried to find ones that we don't talk about all the time. This one was a little different. There's a big backstory on that, and if you're interested in it, look up The Haunted Wedding Dress and read the whole story. But it's really pretty deep, and it's a good one. The Haunted Wedding Dress of Anna Baker is displayed at the Baker Mansion in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and not far from me. Anna Baker was a wealthy young woman who fell in love with a steel worker, but her father forbade the marriage. Why are people always getting involved in this? More hearts have been broken, Heartbroken, Anna never married, and her wedding dress is said to be haunted by her spirit. Visitors have reported seeing the dress move on its own as if an invisible bride is trying it on. That's sad. Isn't that sad?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. Now, this one I hadn't heard of either. Steve, you want to get it?
The Bassano vase. The Bassano vase is an Italian artifact from the 15th century said to bring death to anyone who possesses it. According to legend, the vase was given to a bride on her wedding day, but she died that night clutching it. The vase was passed down through her family, with each new owner meeting an untimely death. Eventually, the vase was buried to prevent further tragedies.
Wow, and that's what it looks like, a silver vase. Looks like an upside-down tulip.
Yeah,
but who'd imagine this cursing like the Hope Diamond?
Along after it knocked off 2 or 3 people, it'd be like, okay.
Yeah, and that's it. In a bury, and that's it too. It's like, how do people realize? I could see the dolls because a lot of times they move, stuff like that. But paintings, they fall off walls or whatever. Maybe that would distract them. But some of these other things, how do you figure? Oh God, it's the vase. I don't know how they figure it out. Origins and legends. The Bassano vase is believed to have been crafted in a small town near Napoli, Italy, around the 15th century. It was reportedly given as a wedding gift to the young bride, and tragically the bride was found dead in her wedding night clutching the vase, like we just said. With her dying breath, she is said to have cursed the vase. Oh, well, there it is. She cursed the vase, vowing vengeance. For what? The vase? After the bride's death, the vase was passed down through her family. However, each knew met untimely and often mysterious death shortly after acquiring it, like we said in the last one. The vase's reputation for bringing death to its possessors grew, and it was eventually hidden away to prevent the further tragedies. So again, the vase resurfaced in the 20th century, reportedly found with a note this time, warning of its deadly curse. Great. By the time you've held the thing and took the note out of the vase, you're already cursed, aren't you? Despite the warning, it's changed hands several times, each time resulting in the death.
If you can read this, you've been cursed.
Yeah, exactly. The exact whereabouts of the Bassano vase remain unknown, adding to its mystique. Some believe it is still out there waiting to be discovered, while others think it is safely hidden away, never to bring harm again. The story of the Bassano vase is a perfect example of how an object can become the center of ghostly legends and superstitions. Its tale of death and mystery makes it a compelling topic for anyone interested in the paranormal. Well, yes, I think that's true. And it's just like Little Bastard, the cursed car of James Dean. We've talked about that one, and the crying boy painting that every time somebody had. Now, that doesn't have to be the original painting, does it? It said even prints.
It'll be the prints, yeah.
That actually have that with the crying boy. And the house burns down or something, right?
Yeah.
So, again, if you know this, why are you doing it? And I think that's part of it. I think with some of these cursed objects, some of the clips that we saw with, they're focused on the window, they're focused on the door all the time, they're focused on the rocking chair with the 666 on it. What are you thinking? And again, whether it's just us doing it to ourselves because we fear the number and we're putting that fear into it, who knows? We could talk about the psychoanalysts on it all night long, but these things are doing this, and it just amazes me. Like Lincoln's train, I think that's a different one, like the carriages and the horses and stuff like that. It's all different little categories, but it's all mystifying. And I think app porting, just to go along with this episode, I think app porting is a totally different thing. I think that's a totally different thing. And I can't explain why, but that's where I'm going to stand on it. How about you, Steve?
Yeah, I agree.
There we go. So what do you got coming up this week? What are you Halloweening?
Got some stuff coming up on Missing Persons and Mysteries. Quite big plans for Halloween week, but
exactly, Scott.
Between now and then, I'm working on some stuff on Tales Untold, and I've launched the audio version, Tales Untold Radio. You can find it on Spreaker and wherever fine podcasts are served. I can drop a link if you want.
And I'm with Ted. There's Ted. Ted, don't you have? We had a question. You might have missed it. Don't you have a phantom carriage that goes by? Tell us about that as we go out. I think he said he did, and that's got to be amazing. I mean, do you hear it? My question would be: do you hear it on an anniversary? Is it more like just random? You never know when. You know, is it something like that, or is it more of a replay on, you know, a certain time of the year or whatever? I don't know, but that's just, I think it also has to do with the energy that's there, you know, like if a tree falls in a wood and nobody was there to hear it, you know, like I guess ghosts just wander, you know, sometimes materialize whether people, I don't know. A lot of questions. Every time we do a show like this, I got more questions, Steve. We've been doing this for years and I don't think we've come up with many answers. It's just an interesting
questions than I started with.
Absolutely. All right. Will you give that baby a big old hug, and your wife too? Give her a kiss on the cheek and tell them I love them. And listen, guys, do what you can to help out with hurricane victims. For the love of Pete, if you're in Florida, get out, have safe travels. Listen, a couple $100. If you can't get a hotel room, get an Airbnb that's safe, you know, for animals or whatever. Ride it out and go home and start from there. But be safe. Let's learn from the last one. And if you've got anybody that needs oxygen or meds or anything like that, please let's take extra care. And there is help available if you act soon enough, but you're kind of running out of time to get out of there.
Baby formula.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way of this thing.
2 cases, just in case. Cases.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And take them with you. It's worth the extra effort. Trust me. I love you all. Be good humans. What are we going to watch on the way out? Let's watch a little groovy tube. Good night, sweetheart. I loved everybody out there. Good night, honey. See you next week.
See you.
Be good. I'm here if you need me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.